Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening everyone and welcome to round 18 of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy Season 16 PC F4 League. Welcome along to Texas, welcome along to Austin. It is a US Grand Prix here at the Circuit of the Americas. 4 more rounds to go of this season, it's coming to a close. Let's hope for a quadruple super supplement of racing, and our first venue is here in the Lone Star State. The 7th time we've come to this circuit in the fastest growing large city in the USA. And a fun fact, it was voted the #1 place to live. Let's hope most of the votes are for this spectacular venue, which has been notorious for producing some stellar racing. 2012, the battle between Vettel and Hamilton, and 2015, a wet title decider where Lewis Hamilton clinched his 3rd out of 5 World Championships thus far. And of course, who can forget Kimi's win here back in October, going 113 races without a win prior to that event. What a result that was. Here at COTA, the 10th different venue, the circuit in the USA, 3.4 miles long. We climb up towards turn 1, descend down the S's and onto the back straight, where overtaking is certainly possible, and to the tight and technical Sector 3. So let's show you more of that hot lap, courtesy of former Danny, with commentary from Austin Knight.
Howdy, howdy, howdy everyone, my name is Austin Knight and we are on board with Formula Danny here at the wonderful Circuit of the Americas. First corner is up this massive hill, I sometimes call him Phil, hard on the brakes and into the apex, and then immediately onto the throttle and down through turn 2. Under the bridge and into the American S's of 3, 4, and 5. Turn 6 is a long right-hander. Keep those revs up because it sets you up for the sharp left-hander of turn 7. Up the hill and to the right of turn 8, and then across the blind turn 9. Blinking, you'll miss it. Here's turn 10. Down this little short chute we go. Up into turn 11. Hard on the brakes, slamming into the apex. And then immediately onto the throttle and down this over half a mile. Back straight, taking these wonderful Texas views, sinking in, best place on earth. But wait, harder on the brakes. It's turn 12. Flip that apex and enter the arena. It's turn 13. Bunch of slow corners in here. Make your moves right. Turn 14. Clip the apex at turn 15. Wide entry. Hard on the brakes. Turn 16. Down and around the tower we must go of the multi-apex corner of turn 17 and 18. Say hello to the fans over on Haas Hill. Slamming into turn 19. Down this little short chute we go into the last corner. Keep it right, keep it tight. It's turn 20 and across the line. And that is a lap around Circuit of the Americas.
Thank you, Former Danny, and of course Austin for that great commentary of the lap. And let's get to the constructor and driver standings. Jens, you've got them right on hand. And with 4 rounds to go, points are ever crucial. So let's see who's currently leading the championship.
Yep, as we see, it's still Third leading the way with 36 points down to Ryson, who unfortunately can't be here today. So that will probably be, or maybe be, the nail in the coffin. You never know what could happen in Formula 1 for this championship. But moving on to Chrysix in 3rd with 167 points, moving 1 place up and moving Solo 1 place down into 4th. Then we have Return jumping 1 up and Histon going 1 down. Then we have Robert in 7th, who unfortunately can't be here today due to a unfortunate race ban he received from the last race. Then we have John Engberg in 8th and Big Boss in 9th and Hoop in 10th, moving 1 place up. Then we have Jeff Kane moving 1 down to 11th. Then we have Richie B in 12th, Tom Lippman in 13th, Eli in 14th, moving 1 up and moving Coyote 1 down to 15th. Then we have Rienk and Marb with 9 points, both in 16th and 17th. And Letzer and Ferraris swapping positions down there with both 1 point, and still Otto, unfortunately, at the bottom with no points. Then we move on to the constructor standings with Haas leading the way with 40 points down to Sauber in second. Then we have Williams in third with 57 points up to Sauber, 17 up to Sauber and 57 up to Haas in first place. Then we have Renault in fourth, Force India in fifth, Ferrari in sixth, McLaren in seventh, Red Bull in eighth, Toro Rosso in ninth, and Mercedes still in last place. And as we move on here to the qualifying, as we see Hitzinen in first place right now with only 10 drivers at this American Grand Prix.
It was bound to happen one point, wasn't it? We thought, our attendance has been superb this season, but of course you have to have one race to kind of let us down, but I'm sure these drivers will give it everything, and you know, with points on offer straight away for all of them, quite unlogical to retire. Even obviously, if you do put a three-wheel wagon into the wall, then you know they kind of have to retire. But yeah, we should be seeing a lot of great action at a circuit which has been notorious for great overtaking and great races. And even despite the low attendance figures, I don't think that I'm putting a dent to any hopes of mine or yours for a great race.
No, like I am really looking forward to this after what we've seen in earlier seasons with, I should say, superb overtaking, and it's bound to be a great race.
Definitely, even Heitinen putting the threshold over Zerd, who's, interestingly, on the soft compound tyres here in qualifying. One thing to note is that the ultra soft tyres that were on show, along with the super soft and the softs, they're not very like by the drivers, and they can overheat quite significantly, even despite the new patch that came out on Monday, which kind of tried to equalise the tyre temperature issues that some drivers are facing, which are causing some issues in league racing. So Codemasters has thankfully fixed that for some drivers' sake. Obviously, I'm not really bothered about it. I just want to see some good action. But yeah, soft tyres for both Haas drivers at the moment. Heitinen currently on the ultra soft. Set that up on the ultra soft tyres. It's going to be interesting. I've been told it is a dry race, so super soft tyres are the ideal one to start on. But as you know, Heitinen might have other thoughts.
Yes, and you have to remember that all these drivers, there's not a single one that's not starting on the qualifying tyre except for Ferraris, but yeah, because he didn't set a lap time, so there won't really be anything to judge what he's starting on, but every single driver here has to start on the tyre they're qualifying on. So it'll be crucial not to overheat them before you've set your perfect lap.
Speaking of perfect laps, let's go on board with Cryzix. I'm going on board with Cryzix because he had a decent race in Japan, to be honest. He started at the back after a treacherous qualifying session where he got hit by Robert, and that caused him to get a 5-place grid penalty, which is absolutely treacherous. But he managed to reclaw a 4th position right out of the bunny hat, to be honest, because he didn't expect that. But then again, Lazzaro got points. So both Renault seems to be on good form. Hopefully they can carry on. But in terms of the constructor battle, it is all about Haas and Heitinen. Really the lone runner for Sauber today. And after Ryzen had a decent result, obviously won the race on track in Suzuka. But obviously thanks to the penalty, that means Zerd took his 4th victory of the season. Haas have the advantage. They have the upper hand in the constructor battle. It's the same for Zerd in the Drivers' Championship with him and obviously Ryzen not being able to 10, which is such a shame because Ryzen's team have picked up some good form as of late, and yeah, just having to miss this race, and that's really put Zerd, as you said, nail on the coffin maybe. If Zerd, this has been his backyard in the past, and he's had some good success in the past here, and I'll be looking to do that as Hooper goes pole with a 131.5, I should say, and here comes Cryzix now, who I started the lap on, coming round the final corner now on the soft compound tyres, up towards the line now, and it is 4th place for him with a 132.4, with Reina 3/10 ahead of him on the same compound of tyres.
Yeah, as we also see here, the former pole sitter with Hitznen coming around on a new set of ultra soft tyres. Quite interesting to see these drivers trying to set their fast lap on the ultra soft tyres, as you said, they wear quite fast, and that's really not what you want in such a close field with now only 10 drivers. But maybe with the lower attendance you could think that a driver losing out positions in a pit stop wouldn't be so bad.
No, not at all. I mean, the overcut and undercut are two elements that drivers have to focus on, and we're predicting a one-stop race, unless wet weather becomes a factor, which did become a factor last weekend I should say, in Suzuka, where we had all sorts of strategies going on. We had quite a few drivers going onto the intermediate tyres, when you could say it nowhere near intermediate conditions, but because it's dry race now, hopefully that won't hinder any driver's progress. Let's let Serra comes round the final two corners and decides he wants to bail on his lap. Who hasn't crashed in qualifying like he did. He had a spectacular crash, if you can recall, in Suzuka in qualifying. Don't know what happened to Ferraris, but he's out of qualifying. But hopefully for him, he won't do the exact same in the race like he did last time out.
No, and I think as we see this very slow Haas trying to go home, it looks like Serra's run out of fuel on his way back. So it's just limping with some yellow flags now in the same sector that he's in, going very slow, trying to just go back to the pits as fast as possible. But here we see Return about to start his second flying lap. I think this will be, as he comes here out onto the main straight, coming down full throttle. You can brake a little late on this track because of the very uphill braking point into turn 1, so we'll see definitely some attempts to go down the inside there as he locks up just a tad bit coming into there, but through the S is just full speed, so nice and flowing. So here, around to the kind of back area of the circuit before coming onto the back straight, and at this track where we had the famous meow moment from real life. If you remember that far back to the fall.
Oh, can you not remember?
As it looks like Return backed out of that lap.
Cody should probably implement that into the next game in F1 2019. Just hear that, but yeah, Return backed off on that lap. He clearly wasn't happy. It might have been in invalid laps. I mean, it's very easy. USA, the coach is very strict on his track limits. I mean, drivers in real life can probably get away with more than what drivers can here. Obviously, drivers go notoriously wide on the exit of turn 9. I don't think that's allowed. And I haven't tested for myself, so I'm not really the expert on that. No, but all I've been told is that track limits can be a nuisance. And Zerds did tell me that penalties, if you don't pick up penalties, that is an achievement in itself. So we could be seeing a lot of penalties on the board. Hopefully none after the race thanks to a steward's inquiry.
No, let's hope not.
Because I think we've been seeing a bit too much for my liking, personally, as Heitinen now starts his final. He's now diverted onto the super soft tyres, so it would be interesting to see if he can improve on that 131.5 on the ultra soft. It's a very good benchmark, but I think he's got a few tenths more in him as he makes his way through towards turn 7. He's giving it full beans on this lap, which is trying to regain that pole position that he lost thanks to Hooper's time, which was only 200ths quicker than the Sauber man. Braking now in towards the hairpin of turn 11. He locks up for good measure, but that might not be entirely accurate to what he sees on his screen. Now down the back straight, DRS wide open. He's got a lot of time to set himself up for the braking zone of turn 12. Around 330 kilometers an hour he races, heading down towards turn 12. Another lock up for good measure as he heads into the third sector. We're overtaking. Can be possible as turn 15. You need to be a brave man under braking to, maybe do a switchback move like Fernando Alonso did on Felipe Massa, if you remembered, in 2016. But missed the apex a little bit there for my liking, probably for his liking. Round turn 16, 17 and 18, like the reverse, like the flip turn 8 at Istanbul, and he actually comes into the pits and breaks the bollard, breaks my hopes and dreams for commentating a good lap, and he actually comes into the pits.
Yes, he unfortunately does, as Serd is out on his warm-up lap, his out lap for what will be maybe his last lap. But no, you will have 2 chances, but maybe to preserve the tyres, just to have one go on them. And here with 3.5 minutes around that left, most of the drivers are looking to go out and set their optimal laps, and it looks like most of the drivers will be opting for these super soft tyres, except for what looks like to be Hooper and Richie B.
Pretty sure Hooper got pole in Germany thanks to being on the ultra-soft tyre, so he seems committed to getting the second pole position of the season, but he actually comes into the pits, so he might not have been looking to improve on that lap. He has time to come in, put a new fresh set of rubber on his car. Well, that will be purple stripe rubber or red stripe, or maybe even soft type, yellow stripe I should say, but that's unlikely as Sarah now comes round the final 2 corners, got a bit of understeer through turn 19, and locks up into the bargain on the final corner, looking to jump up, and he goes third fastest with a super soft tyre on 1:31.56, which is very decent, and that means the top 3 are separated by not even what was that, 400ths of a second? That's pretty decent.
Yes. Yeah, and as we know, this season has been ever close at the top between, well, it has actually been close everywhere, with some small gaps here and there, but it is just so exciting to see these drivers be so close with the timings in qualifying and in the race, and it makes for some great action for us to commentate and for you to watch.
Yeah, the competitiveness this season has always been at its utmost, and it's really made me really enjoy my Sunday job here, commentating this league, and I'm hopefully have the privilege to commentate it for the last 3 races after this one, which will be Mexico, Brazil and Abu Dhabi in next week, and obviously the 2 weeks after that. The season's a bit emotional, to be honest. So the season coming to a close, Azur's lap coming to a close as well, coming round the final 2 corners now. He's in 5th place at the moment. He set that 1:32.3 on the soft compound tyres. Now on the super soft tyres, where does this lap put him? Is a comfortable pole position with a 1:30.9. He's got a lot of distance between himself and Hooper in second as Eli is going to start his flying lap and return, coming round turn 17 now, and that is a car out of his way. I think that might have been Lazzara in the Renault. It was. His return now makes his way round the final corner. Could he possibly join his teammates on the front row of the grid? No, it's only 5th fastest for Return at the moment. He's a second off his teammate, which is quite substantial.
Yep, but you have to remember they all have one more go, as Reina sets the 2nd fastest lap with a 1:31.5. So Serd's still in a comfortable pole position for now, but let's see what the other guys can do. Here as we see Cry6 come around to the triple right-hander before going down to the last corner and the main straight, and as he comes here through the last corner, let's see what he can do. Can he move himself high up? Did he improve there? I don't
Just
think
a bit.
Yeah, as he just got time for another one, but I don't think. No, it looks like he's still trying out. No, he retires here and backs out of that, but the guys still have something to do, as we see here. Hooper coming around to the back straight. Anyone else about to finish their laps?
Hi, Inanas.
Yeah, here we go. On board with him.
Interesting, he's on the ultra soft tyres, so he could be going for this pole position, which Zerd currently holds. Can he dislodge the Haasman? Round the final corner he goes. oversteer on the exit, and it is pole. Oh, only by 300. That is a very close margin, but it is pole position at the moment. But can Hooper challenge the Sauber, who had a great lap just then, 130.9. Hooper's got 6/10 to gain, to make up on the Sauber, making his way round the final corner now. The last one to complete a lap here in qualifying, and it's only third. 131.1. It's not good enough for the front row. Zerd splits the two up just off runners as Rayner makes his way around the final corner. He is way off the pace. He is going to start in 4th position on those super soft tyres, and it is Haitinen pretty short with his second pole position of the season.
Yeah, I think so, but as we here go to look at the complete full standing before we go into the race, if the page wants to load up here, as we see Haitinen, as we just said, in pole position, and Zerd joining him on the front row, just losing out by 0.02 of a second, almost 0.03 of a second. So that's quite close at the top. Then Hooper and Rayner on the second row, then Lazzaro and Kreisig on the third, then Return and Eli on the fourth, and Richie B and Ferraris on the 5th row of this full grid. And before we head in to the race, here is a small message from our sponsors, Hype Energy. And here, as we return to this, still loading a bit, but to an overcast circuit of the Americas. So it'll be interesting to see if we're actually going to see a bit of drizzle, or if it's going to keep itself dry, or maybe get a bit more sun in there. As we here go on to the formation lap.
Is it the formation lap or was it lights out? I think it's lights out.
Is it
actually.
lights out? It's lights out!
That's very interesting. In Haitinen leading to turn 1, it's all very confusing. Zerd keeps hold of second position. Rayner squabbling like Lazzaro. I don't think this is meant to happen, but it's happening. And thankfully, we only got 10 drivers, not 20, or bemoozled by how the race start is happening now. We thought with formation lap, but Haitinen leads, Zerd in second, Rayner in third. Lazzaro gets a jump on Hooper. So Hooper's had a dreadful start. I am assuming he did not expect the race start to happen and not the formation lap. That was very confusing, but he's all over the tail now of Lazzaro. Going to try and move into turn 11, or they make a little bit of contact. Hooper just can't get past. That was a very confusing start and return now, squabbling away with Kreisig. Look how close Hooper's getting to the back of Lazzaro, tugging into the slipstream, going wheel to wheel down the main straight. It's 3 wide between the Force India and the Haas and the Renault back there, but Hooper does get ahead of Lazzaro and makes a move into 4th place. It's Haitinen and Zerd are squabbling. Zerd's making his move and making his move early. Can Rayner fit into the equation? No, he didn't try and move at turn 15. Haitinen keeps hold of that lead for the time being, and Zerd in second position, but threatening as he always does on that Sauber, with Rayner very closely congested behind the Haasman.
Yes, indeed, as we had some problems with the camera there through the first lap, as we were really not expecting that, and I don't think any of the drivers were expecting to see that, as I think all of us were expecting to go on to the formation lap.
That must have been an issue with the coordinator, so that's not our fault, just to let you know. So, coordinator clearly had an issue, which is, it can't be resolved unfortunately, but thankfully no major mishaps happened on that first lap, and thankfully everyone got through very cleanly. Indeed, as Crisis actually got past the turn whilst we were talking about the mishap of the coordinator, sees him into 7th place ahead of the Haasman. And it's getting very congested at the front. Hainen's leading a huge train. It's Hainen, Zerd, Rayner, Hooper, and Latzer with Ferraris 1.5 seconds back under pressure from Kreisix. He couldn't make it 2 overtakes in pretty much half a lap. Side by side he goes with the Force India. He's going to go down the inside, but Ferraris breaks a little bit later. But that's not stopping Kreisix storming his way past Force India and now up into 6th place, and he's got a teammate right in front of him.
Yes, he has. And I think Kreisix will now be trying to just attack as much as possible and just lay Ferraris behind him. But as we're going up here to the top with Hidson getting a bit of a gap, but with Zerd and all the other guys closely following him. I think it's all the way down to Lazzaro, that is. Yes, it is. With just one big train, as Kreisix sets the fastest lap of this Grand Prix, as DRS is also getting enabled. So could we maybe see a move for the lead by Zerd when we come to the back straight with maybe some DRS in the mix?
If you can stick tight to the heighten and through these tricky compacts with the dirty air does come into play a lot, then yes, certainly he'll have a great chance down the back straight. But he's losing a little bit of time in the dirty air, which is expected, but he's crucially still within that DRS mark, as is Rayner, as is Hooper, and Latzer is actually much closer to Hooper. Hooper has on the best run out of that sequence of corners, nearly touched the gearbox of Hooper there, coming out of turn 11. Let's focus on Zerd. He's got DRS on the Sauber. Is he gaining ever the more, tucking into the slipstream, pulling out to the inside, going down the inside is Zerd. Can he make the move stick? Locks up for good measure, but Zerd takes the lead of the US Grand Prix, but right Hayden tries to fight him off once again, but Zerd covers the attack, and now he's inside, but look at Rats Raider going down the inside at turn 15. Oh, very argy-bargy stuff. Raider just can't get the edge, and Hayden just stays ahead of the Mercedes, but now goes for the switchback through turn 17. Wheel contact between the two of them. Hayden gets forced off, but has the inside line into turn 19. Rayner gets forced off the track because there's no room to go side by side there. And that was great racing between all 3 drivers to keep it clean, and for Hayden's sake, he's ahead for the time being of the Mercedes, but Zerd might start to pull away. He's 8 tenths ahead, and if Hayden loses that DRS advantage that is getting off the back of the Haas, he's going to be a sitting duck on the back straight like he was to Zerd 1 lap ago.
Yep, and I think Zerd is pulling away a slight bit. Yep, as Hidson falls out of the 1 second but comes in again. It's just that it depends on where the DRS but I can't speak today.
The activation point.
Yes, the activation point, thank you. The DRS activation point is, but it looks like Hidson will get the DRS off Zerd. So maybe Rayner can get it, or it looks like Hidson is falling more away from Zerd, but as we see in the rear, Hooper trying to go down the inside, or defending from that side that was, and Rayner having a small look on Hidson there at the end of the back straight. Now we just see Zerd begin to pull away from Hidson a bit. So it'll be interesting to see where the 2 strategies of these 2 drivers will get them out, as we're not expecting the drivers to qualify on the ultra soft tyres. As we said earlier, they wear quite a bit around the track.
Yeah, when the super softs become quicker than the ultra softs, and Hayden would really be a sitting duck. He could be a sitting duck down this street, but he crucially just about has that DRS from Zerd. He's not going to try and lunge into turn 1. Neither does Latzo, but Kreisix has clawed his way onto the back of the train for that Hooper starting to form. Hooper's way outside of DRS range. So Latzo could be sizing up on moves. Hooper gets a little bit out of shape coming through the S section. Don't want to lose it there, because he could easily collect both Renaults and really create 3 casualties here on lap 5 of the Grand Prix, as Hooper makes his way through turn 9 onto turn 10. Now braking in towards turn 11. Will Latzo try to dive up the inside? No, he doesn't. He thinks better of it, because he needs that DRS down the back straight, as does Rayner, and he's getting a good dose. Hayden does not have DRS anymore, Can this give Reina the incentive to go down the inside at turn 12? He's a bit too far back. Lazzaro is definitely not too far back. He's going down the inside, but he locks when he goes too deep into turn 12, and that gives Hooper. Hooper says, thank you very much. I'll retake that 4th position because you completely bottle-jobbed that corner. But Lazzaro always thought about diving on the inside at turn 15. Just a great complex of corners for overtaking and defending and all that good stuff, and we're seeing a great dose of it so far. And look at Cryzix, he's getting very interested in the mix, sat behind his team, and obviously if Lazzaro can't get past, I think Cryzix will be right on the team radio, wondering if he can try and get past that McLaren.
Yeah, but as we look at Reina here at the front here and at the podium as he goes down the inside of Hitzland into the first corner with the DRS, quite easily done there, as he just keeps it clean through the first corner, and with the DRS that was done even before the braking zone was over.
And Lazzaro's got past Hooper as well. Brilliant moving by both of them to keep it clear. We're going side by side through just about before turn 3, before Hooper backed off and gave Lazzaro the benefit of doubt, but goes really wide coming out into turn 8. And now Cryzix just says, you know, I'll just easily take that. That's candy from a baby, quite frankly. And that means Hooper's lost 2 positions in a matter of corners and down to 6th place. And here comes Ferraris. Ferraris is only a second back, but Cryzix doesn't have DRS. Hooper does. So Hooper might try and take that 5th place back. It's actually Hayton and Reina still batter squabbling for 2nd position. Hayton trying to go around the outside, really defending the Sauberman off. Hayton's not going to give this up without a fight. They're going side by side through turn 13. Bit of contact between the two of them, but nothing more in it. And look at Lazzaro's right on the rear of that Sauber, who tried the switchback, but couldn't make it stick. And look at the gap between Zerd and Reina. It's 3 seconds. So Zerd is literally in a league of his own now. He's 3.7 seconds ahead of Reina, and Reina's obviously going to have to try and fend off from Hayton, and Lazzaro's not too far out of the equation as well. And don't discount Cryzix. How many times have we seen him making his way through the field? Last week 3 was a great example, and he'll be right up there.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt you, but Hitzland goes right down the inside of that Cerro, but Reina fights back into the S's here, but it looks like Reina got the position completely stuck in from Hitzland. But going back to what you were saying there,
to be honest, I think Hayton is starting to show a little bit of loss of grip on those tyres, and I think it's going to be a matter of time before his tyres really give up the ghost, and he's surely going to have to bail onto the pits. But crucially, he's got that DRS off Reina. He could even try again to get past, but I don't think it's going to help his tyre wear one bit squabbling. And he should be really conserving them, but he's going to go again. You know he's going to go again. He's a racer. He's going to go for a gap, and look at that. There's not much room there that Reina's given him, but Hayden says, I'm storming through. I'm going to lock up into the bargain, and I'm going to retake that 2nd place in your Reina. You're going to have to stick behind me, but is Reina going to try and fight it around the outside? It's side by side between the two of them. Here comes Lazzaro. Reina dives it on the inside at turn 15. Brilliant racing, and Hayden gets squeezed off. Here comes Lazzaro. Lazzaro absolutely nowhere as Hayden loses the place to the Renault man. They're going to go side by side. Lazzaro with the inside line into turn 19, and he takes 2nd place, but Reina's going to fight back. Hayden's diving into the pits. Pretty hard to keep up as Reina outbreaks himself into the final corner, and that is 2nd position for Lazzaro, who's 5th a few laps ago, is now up into that 2nd position. And look at that, 5.2 seconds between Zerd and Lazzaro. It's all kicking off as Hayton really was the element that was corking the champagne bottle there, because he obviously being on that alternate strategy was really holding people up, and that led Lazzaro to just capitalise on Reina just misbraking some braking zones, and yeah, he took a full advantage. And here comes Chrysler now on the back of the Mercedes. It's a Mercedes filling instead of a Renault sandwich for 2nd, 3rd, 4th in today's race.
Yep, as you just saw on the screen there, the tyre strategy, but it's interesting to see that those guys were trying it out on the ultra soft, but we should begin to see the super soft runners come into the pits soon, before they wear out too much and then go on to what we predict is a soft tyre till the end.
Definitely Hayden back out in 10th, right down the pecking order. Richie B, interestingly, I didn't even notice this. He's starting on the soft compound tyres, and he's having a nice battle between himself, Return, and Eli for 7th. And everyone's still very nicely congested. Obviously, Zerd is out just being the amazing driver sandbagger he is. Hayden, obviously, with that pit stop, obviously going to be right down the field, but come the pit stops, everything's going to change. There's Ferraris and Hooper's in the pits, which is expected, to be honest. Those ultra soft tyres are well run, and it doesn't really help that he was battling a lot and tried to keep the Renaults at bay, but in the end it wasn't going to be enough. And he comes out, I'm assuming, it's Return also pits on the super soft tyre down. That's very interesting. Might try the undercut on, who was he battling? I think he was battling Eli in the Red Bull, so that's very interesting. I didn't expect to see super soft runners dive into pits this early, but obviously he's taking the gamble, and he's going to hope that it works for him.
Yep, and as we're talking about, there could be some light drizzling earlier. It looks like the sun is about to break through the clouds here in the US, so any hopes for rain is getting demolished right now. Unfortunately, we would like to see some, as we saw last week, and that produced an amazing race with some interesting strategies.
Yeah, very interesting. As Rayner locks up into the bargain at turn 12, he looks very eager to retake that place on Lazzaro. Kind of just capitalised when Rayner was least expecting it, and Lazzaro's a very tricky person to overtake. He's very aggressive and will not give you a lot of room. But the same could be said about Rayner, to be honest. He didn't give Hayden a lot of room. And Hayden, when the Southman tried to pass him, I successfully did pass him. As lap 9 starts, Zerd crossing the start-finish line, start lap 9, and he's crossed that finish line in first position for 8 of the 9 laps we've had so far, and it's been pretty much a breeze for him so far. It's been anything but that for all the drivers around him. Is Hayden, actually, if you look at that, Hooper is in 18th, Return in 19th, and Hayden behind both of them, despite being ahead of them before all three of them came into the pits. And maybe, did he have a penalty or did he have any front wing? That's something I'm probably going to go investigate now.
Yeah, because I don't think that he had any penalties. So if he had a very slow pit stop, it could have been some front wing damage. But yeah,
no penalties.
Oh. So yeah, you must have accumulated some front wing damage somewhere.
We assume so. So that's cost him a little bit, but he has shown good pace this season and definitely in this race so far. So I'm assuming he can claw back to Return, who hasn't shown a lot of great pace so far this race. Been squabbling for the lower points paying positions, but I'm sure he might be better customized on the soft compound tyres. Eli and Richie B are squabbling. Just to interrupt me, Richie B and Eli and Richie B going into the left-hander of 15. It is a Toro Rosso just ahead of his sister car and getting ahead into 6th position, and those super soft tyres on the Red Bull might be wearing a bit, and this is where Richie B probably take the lead of the race as Zerd comes into the pits, as does Rayner as well. So, for the first time of this season, I think we have a Renault 1-2. Actually, no, we don't, because I remember all those months ago in Bahrain, Renault actually did take a front row lockout. But Lazzaro leads the race the first time, which I'm sure he'd love to see, but he probably wouldn't have expected it. So there goes Hooper on the fast lap board. Now, where does he come out in contrast to everyone else? There's Rayner. He is in 6th place ahead of Hooper, like it was. And Zer's only 6.5 seconds behind Richie B, who's yet to pit. He is literally living the best life out there. And if anything unfortunate happens to him, that's the only thing that will probably sidetrack him from not taking what would be an absolutely dominant win.
Yep, and for now, I think it's only going to be a safety car that could hinder him taking the lead of these guys that haven't pit yet, because he's 13.2 seconds off Lazzaro in the lead. So if he just stays off the back of these guys and waits for them to pit, that will surely be first place for him.
Now what's interesting is what happens on the Renault team strategy wall, because Lazzaro looks eager, or looks likely to come into the pits, but Cryzix will have to react pretty late if he wants to come into the pits this lap, and there goes Lazzaro. Very nicely done there, very nice positions. Gave Cryzix the benefit of the doubt, gave Cryzix everything he needed to make sure he wasn't going to come into the pits and get held up like he would have done if he came into the pits. Lazzaro did a very good run. Obviously started in 5th, and now he was in the lead. Well, obviously he was in 2nd after 4 pit stops occurred. He comes out, going to be close to himself and Reina. It's going to be very close indeed, as Lazzaro comes out to the pits now. I think Reina has just about got the edge, heading into turn 1. Oh, it was so close. Lazzaro, his front wing could have easily just been chopped off by the rear of the Mercedes, but Reina crucially makes that undercut work. And it was Lazzaro and Reina for the pit stops. It is now Reina and Lazzaro in 5th and 6th. So we'll be 2nd and 3rd after Cryzix, Ferraris and Richie B all serve their pit stops.
Yep, as they will do in quite some time, at least for Richie B. But it's interesting to see Ferraris and Cryzix go so late into this Grand Prix, as I think they'll pit maybe on this lap, maybe on the next lap, because they have been battling a bit in the midfield, at least been flying in some dirt air, which can wear the tyres out quite a bit because of the dirty air and not being able to cool your tyres down enough. So it'll be interesting to see when they come in and where they'll file out in this pack. As we see here, Ferraris come into the pits, and Cryzix as well in front of him, as we see Richie B carry on this beginning of lap 14.
Yeah, right on cue, Cryzix and Ferraris make their pit stops. Cryzix will probably come out pretty similar to where Lazzaro is right now, maybe a little bit further behind, as here comes Cryzix out of the pits. It's going to be close to himself and Lazzaro, but Lazzaro will take hold of that 4th position with Cryzix right behind him, and Hooper is in the mix as well. So it's going to be a 4-way battle, really, for that 2nd position, as Zerd picks himself up his first penalty of the evening, but I don't think that will harm him too much, because he's 6.3 seconds ahead of Reina, so he needs at least 2 more to be under any sort of pressure to lose that lead, and he's only 1 second behind Richie B coming down this back straight. I don't think an overtake will happen on this lap, but I don't think Richie B will put up too much of a fight, considering there's a 10-lap difference in the tyres on the Toro Rosso and the tyres on the Haas, so Zer should probably breeze past Richie B, probably down the main straight. Is who's getting close for a move. Cryzix getting close to the back of his teammate, who crucially needs to get into that DRS threshold on the back of Reina. He's not in there just yet. It's 1.3 seconds because he needs to get in there. Otherwise, he's going to be under all sorts of pressure from not just his teammates, but also Hooper behind his teammate in the McLaren. As Zer's getting ever closer to the back of Richie B. He must have gained so much coming out of those slow corners. Those tyres are really hurting Richie B right now, and he's pulling alongside the Toro Rosso, and he breezes past Richie B in towards turn 1. He's way ahead for the braking zone, and that is Zerd retaking the lead of the US Grand Prix, and from now on he'll probably just set off into the sunset, which is trying to peek out from the glooming clouds, but no rain just yet, and probably for the remainder of this race. Unfortunately not, but that is how it is sometimes. Hopefully, he gets some nice overtaking for what is 3rd position right now, as Lazzaro has got into that 1 second threshold of Reina, and he's got DRS on the back of the Mercedes. He must have used a bit of ERS to get close, because he's much further ahead of Cryzix now. He gets all over the back of the Mercedes. Heading into turn 13, I'm looking to retake that place that I lost after Mercedes did a great strategy call and brought Reina in before the Renault man to get that undercut and get Reina back out in front and take that provisional second position here in Kota, as Eli's getting close to the back of Hainen, who really has seemed to drop off after the pit stops. It just hasn't seemed to be himself, really. Like, he hasn't seemed to be the man who was battling for the lead on the first few laps, as Lazzaro sets the fastest out with a good race, good measure. He's going to try dive into turn 1. He might have thought about it, but he backed off because Reina knew he did the last thing he wanted with Lazzaro was to maybe cause a collision and end both of their races. Lazzaro does have about 20 penalty points, so he needs to keep it clean, because we have, obviously, Robert did get that race ban, which means he has to sit out on the sidelines when he could have been racing amongst these guys. We've had some absolutely fantastic racing so far, and we have just surpassed the halfway distance. So hopefully, first half the second half should be just as good as the first half. Here comes that Serena onto the back straight. You can see the Mercedes in his sights, and with that DRS getting ever closer to the back of that Silver Arrow, gaining down the back straight, pulling out to the inside. Reina puts up absolutely no defence whatsoever, and that means Lazzaro can get an easy incentive to go down the inside and get past the Mercedes and take that second or third place right now in the race. And Reina really didn't put up a lot of pressure there, and Lazzaro kind of just breezed past him and gave him a little token of respect there by just I think a pretty simple overtake. What Lazzaro will be hoping. And yeah, into third place goes the Renault. Come out closely behind Eli, but obviously with those super soft tyres, he could be a man on a charge and he'll be much quicker than the soft tyre runners, especially Hainen, who's got 8 laps on that rubber. Yeah, Richie B, look out for him. I'll be looking out to see his gap between Eli. It's 2 seconds at the moment. I'll be looking to see if that closes down, and I'll be looking to see a position change for 9th and 10th. Could there be a position change for 2nd and 3rd? Because Richie B pitted. This is the battle for 2nd. Lazzaro, Reina, and Kreisix just outside. Here comes Reina. Is he going to go for a move down towards turn 12? Nope. Lazzaro gave him the incentive to go down the inside, but Reina thought better of it. Maybe try to recollect himself to go for maybe a move where Lazzaro might not expect it. He's going to expect a dive bomb into turn 15, so he covers that one off very nicely indeed. Did not give Reina any sniff, any sort of chance to go down the inside at turn 15. Very well defended from Lazzaro, and this will be an absolutely outstanding result for him. And Reina as well. Both have neither picked up a podium so far in their seasons. Reina obviously still a reserve technically, but he's got DRS on the back of Lazzaro. Lazzaro covers the inside line. Reina's going to have to go the long way around turn 1. Can he do it? He might turn for the switchback move. Going over the curb at turn 1. He's that determined to try and get past, but he can't. And Lazzaro, great defending once again to keep hold of that second place. Look at them, they're literally going in formation. Reina nearly pushing the Renault through turn 2, 3, 4, and 5, but obviously with the dirty air, he sort of dropped back a little bit. And here comes Kreisig. I think Kreisig's just biding his time, to be honest, and just waiting for an opportunity to arise. Maybe if Lazzaro and Reina, who I hope these guys won't take any offense to this next comment. I think they are quite error prone, especially Lazzaro. Reina has had a few issues so far in this season, but Lazzaro's main issue right now is trying to cover off Reina going down towards turn 12, but it's absolutely no use because the DRS is so effective. Got a much better exit coming out of turn 12, and that is Reina back up into 2nd position, but I don't think that is going to be the end of this battle anytime soon, don't you think? I know someone will be very nervous from the pit wall is Cyril Abitable. These guys, the last thing they want to do is just crash at a very unfortunate moment. And if he takes out Rayner as well, that would not be a very happy Toto Wolff. Not a very happy debrief either, as Lazzaro gets a 3-second time penalty. That could be crucial come the end of the race's return and Ferrari's top places. And Richie B, I told you I thought he'd be making a move on Eli, and he's got the inside move. He's got the move done. He has got the move done, and he is now up into 9th place and gets ahead of Eli, who's been struggling for a little bit of pace, dropped off the back of Hayden, who was battling prior to this, and now is Richard be up into 9th, and now we could probably see that Sauber in the distance, and we can probably see that Force India and Haas battling in his sights as well. So Richie B could be a man up on the move, as Kryzik is coming on the move. Ferrari is definitely on the move. He's getting much closer to the back of return, going down towards turn 12, but nothing doing for the Force India just yet in this battle with the Dutch Haas driver. Well, Ferraris is on 4-lap younger tyres compared to return, so I think this is a case of when this overtake's happen, not if this overtake's going to happen. And will it happen down this main straight? Ferraris might go for it here. It is a late move. Dive bomb from the Force India, but he locks up, and that really was easy pickings to return to retake that 6th position. Ferrari just over ambitious there, as Hooper picks himself up a penalty. He's pretty much in no man's land. 4.8 behind the guy in front of him, and 8 seconds between himself and return behind him. Yeah, Ferrari looks very eager to try and get past, maybe a bit too eager to get past into turn 1, and he just paid a little bit of price, having to view that Jack and Jones black and white Haas car in front of him, and that is the view from Lazzaro staring at that silver hour. It just isn't happening for him. Is it going to happen for Ferraris now? Going down towards turn 12, it's the outside line once again. Oh, he makes contact with return. He locks up and goes wide, and that is return making up the place again. So Ferraris is return is proving quite the obstacle for Ferraris. He just can't seem to get past him, and all this is doing now is bringing Haitinen and Richie B into the equation. Richie B, obviously, with those super soft tyres, we'll be seeing these three guys are just licking his lips in the anticipation that he could get past them in quite some succession. Quite short succession, if I can get my words together. That'll be the hope, as onto the back straight we go now, with the second, third, and fourth. Lazzaro still can't get past. I think his exit out of turn 12, just turn 11, I should say, isn't good enough. But is Richie B's? Is anyone's exit good enough to me? Mountain move. Going down. Richie B's going to send it up the inside on turn 12. Can he hold it together? Hayden does not make contact with him. That was a very late move from Richie B. Pulled out when Hayden was least expecting it, but crucially, neither got into contact, and Hayden covers the inside line. That caught me out of surprise, probably as much as it did for Hayden in the driver's seat, not just in the commentator's box, I should say. And Richie B seems to be so eager to get past, and maybe he should just try and bide his time. Maybe because he's pretty much in a Max Verstappen China situation, and the last thing he wants to do is do anything, to replicate anything that his fellow countryman did. But now heading down towards turn 1, Heinen moves to the inside to cover the Toro Rosso's pressure off. But in doing so, doesn't give himself the best line through turn 1 and into turn 2. GB gets such better traction out of there compared to Sauber. Now going wheel to wheel. Who's going to back out? Richie B doesn't want to do it, but Heinen has to stay ahead. Otherwise, that would have been a monster collision, a monster crash, and it could have been both of them out of the race. Oh, here comes Lazzaro! Sorry to interrupt there, Lazzaro did a little bit of half-hearted move on Reina there. Just a little closer, and that move would have been successful. But is he going to try dive him into turn 15? Not just yet. He can't get past. Is Richie B going to try it once again? He thinks better of it. Obviously, we're trying to get past as soon as possible because, well, quite frankly, 6th is the best he can achieve in today's race because it's in terms of Formula 1, it is an absolute mile and a half between Matern and Hooper in terms of Formula 1 pace, to be honest. As on to lap 22 we come. Only 7 laps left of this race. To be honest, quite really flown by.
Yes, indeed it has, but sorry, getting quite close to Reina's gearbox there.
You know, the one issue I have with Lazzaro, I just think at one he could just throw it all away at one moment as Reina adds himself another penalty. I'm pretty sure that's his second of the afternoon, which means that Lazzaro will take that second place. Obviously, there's still 7 laps to go. I don't want to jinx it, because if I do, then I don't think Lazzaro will be very happy with me at all, as Ferrari now adds a penalty to his collection. He's still batting away with return, and he still hasn't managed to get past. We saw how eager he was. He made an over-ambitious dive bomb at turn 1, and nothing's happened since then. Is anything going to happen on the back straight between these three? Not at the moment. It's all single file for the time being as we head onto the back straight for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th place drivers. Richie B is getting ever closer. This could be his chance to get past Heinen, and does not have DRS. And the Toro Rosso should breeze past him. But Heinen is going to stick his nose in there into the braking zone of turn 12. Picks himself a penalty for good measure, but still going to carry on this battle. Outbraking manoeuvre at turn 13 and just about manages to stay ahead. Richie B going to try go down the inside at turn 15. Bit of a half-hearted move once again from the Toro Rosso driver. And once again, he just can't find that little edge to just put his nose down the inside and successfully make that move stick. And he must be getting absolutely aggravated, stuck behind that gorgeous rear end of the Alfa Romeo Sauber. As lap 20 starts with them, Ferrari is a lot closer to return. Is he going to try for a move once again, going into turn 1? Bit of argy-bargy movement there from the Force India, like ping pong between the two of them. Return just about stays ahead, but Richie B has finally got his man. After so many attempts, so many unsuccessful manoeuvres, it has finally paid off, and that Sauber, who he's been staring at for the past few laps or so, is now behind him. Richie B up to 8th and Heinen down to 9th.
Yep, as they come here down to the back straight, as Ferrari's quite close. But as we see, Lazzaro going down the inside. I think that was on Reina for 2nd place in this race.
I'm pretty sure that was a pretty plain sailing move. Not what it intended. Return, and the Ferrari's going to try around. Return doesn't give him a lot of room, almost forced him to the outside of the track there. Ferrari is not going to give this in without a fight, and he just about is. Here comes Richie B. They're only 3 wide into 15. Oh, they are going to be 3 wide into 15. There's front wing, there's debris, there's carbon fibre off. I think that's off Return's car. And Ferrari stays ahead, and Richie B, yeah, Return's struggling. He's got so much understeer coming through that turn 16, 17 and 18. And that is so unfortunate. He had a great squabble with Ferraris, but a misjudgment just on the braking of turn 15. I mean, they were 3 wide. Bless Return, because he didn't have a lot to do. And here comes Richie B now. He could try down the inside of Ferraris. He is going to try down the inside. Can he make that move stick with a better traction, better grip, better tarmac on the racing line? And yes, there he goes. Richie B up into 6th position, gaining 3 positions in pretty much 3 laps. What a comeback. And now it's just a case of staying ahead of these guys as these super soft tyres start to drain, just like the soft tyres of the guys behind him start to drain as well. But that was nearly 3 wide into turn 15. You don't often see that, and you don't often see Rayner trying to get past Lazaro once again. Rayner can't get past, and Lazaro is proving indecisive with these maneuvers. He's absolutely giving it everything just to stay ahead. Brilliant defending, brilliant attacking, brilliant racing between all 3 drivers, and Cryzix pretty much having a great front row seats, ringside seats for these 2 doing battle. But surely you would think if you were in Cryzix's seat, you'd want to capitalise on these 2 squabbling. As lap 25 starts, only 4 more laps to go. The sun is really out here in Kota. It's great to see the sun come out for the end of this race.
Yes, it is, and as we see here, Cryzix behind these guys, really looking to get the move done, just hoping that they make a mistake, because as you know, it is not over until the fat lady sings. These guys can make mistakes, and Cryzix will just be sitting there and waiting for that mistake.
You're right, and Cryzix, very sensible driver. He's made a lot of good judgments in the past in his career, and he is a race winner, of course. He's won twice so far in his F4 season at Silverstone and in Sochi. No S starting here in Kota, so it's probably like he's going to win. It's going to be Zerd's victory surely here in Kota, which means we'll break the record for only winning once every other race so far in this season. So that means he's going to have a 2nd win on the trot unless something substantial happens, because he's literally been in his element here. Like he's been just driving casually, but still pulling out a gap. He's had no need to push whatsoever as Eli gets past Heitinen. I think Heitinen's tyres are really asking too much of him, to be honest. 17 laps compared to 14 laps, and he's still got 3 more laps to go of this race. So those tyres are really starting to pack in, and let's hope for everyone else's case that doesn't happen, as Return has only got 1 lap younger tyres compared to Heitinen. And with that front wing damage, Eli could maybe try and get past the Haas driver and take that 8th position, but Heitinen actually comes into the pits. I doubt he's going to retire. I doubt he probably will go and try and set the fastest lap of the race, maybe just for some pride. As, to be honest, his race after the pit stops hasn't really gone his way, and that's Rayner adding another penalty onto his collection. That could cost him that 3rd position. He could lose a podium thanks to that penalty. We'll have to wait and see, as there's 2.5 laps to go of this Grand Prix, and there's still battles everywhere we look. Brilliant.
Yep, it's brilliant to see this battling, as we've been seeing it all season with these drivers, and it's really something I'll be missing when this season ends.
I echo the exact comments, but the fact is, it is Lazaro and Rayner. We don't often see squabbling, and that's Rayner going down the inside. There's contact between the 2 of them. Oh no, that's the last thing. Comes Cryzix now, gonna capitalise on Rayner's misfortune there, and there goes Cryzix through on Rayner, and he picks up that 3rd position. Lazaro will be absolutely livid. That will not do his tyre wear any good whatsoever. And this could give Cryzix the chance to get past his teammates as lap 27 starts. And Rayner, I'm just watching the stream now, I'm pretty sure that was his fault. And look, there goes Lazaro and Cryzix squabbling. Lazaro's not going to give this up against his teammates. Cyril will be biting his nails, because these 2, this will be Renault's probably best result of the season. 2nd and 3rd. Lazaro's going to give it absolutely everything in his bid to stay ahead of Cryzix. This would be 18 points, which would make his tally over a season go from 1 to 19, which would put him up a substantial amount of places. And I'm sure he will literally give it everything until the checkered flag falls, and thankfully he only has to pass this section of track one more time. Crysis, here we go then. The two Renaults, the two Bananas going to squabble on the penultimate lap. So he might have to give this up because Crysis got the DRS, he's got the maps up to 11, and is going to be side by side into the braking, so Lazzaro brakes later and forces Crysis to the outside line. Now Crysis with the inside line, which will turn to the outside line for turn 15. Lazzaro's giving it absolutely everything. Rayner's got a great ringside seat. Can Crysis try the switchback move coming out of turn 15? He just about can't. Lazzaro just about stays hold of that second place. And with one lap to go, Lazzaro goes wide at turn 19. Thankfully, he doesn't get a warning for that. But onto the main straight we head now for the 28th and final time for these guys. These have been in a monstrous battle, one of the best battles I've ever witnessed so far in this season. And that's saying something, because we've had some absolutely incredible battling between all drivers, and especially with only 10 drivers. We've had probably one of the best races so far this season, but it's still not over yet. And for Lazzaro, he's going to have to just hold on and just try his best to stay ahead, to just pull out a little bit of gap on Crysis. And Crysis didn't get the best run out of turn 9. Here comes Rayner now. Rayner got a much better exit as Heitinen sets a fast lap of the Grand Prix. Rayner's going to try to dive up the inside of 11. This compromises Crysis, which gives Lazzaro a little bit of breathing room. 6/10 the gap between Lazzaro and Crysis. This is going to be nail-biting stuff. Can Crysis send it down the inside for one final time? It's going to be a brave man under the braking. He can't quite do it. Rayner's in the mix as well. Can't quite get past Crysis. Crysis is going to dive down the inside at 13. Lazzaro gives him all the room he needs, all the room he deserves to stay ahead. And Lazzaro with the inside line for 15. There comes Rayner out of absolutely nowhere to take that third position from Crysis. And whilst we were looking at that, here comes Zerd round the final corner, and he wins the US Grand Prix. His championship lead is 61 points. You would think it's unassailable from this gap with 3 races to go. And Lazzaro does get second place. In the end, it is a Renault 2 and 3. Crysis comes home in third after that penalty to Rayner. After that brilliant manoeuvre on the final lap, it is 4th place. Hooper comes home in 5th. They're a very lonely race. No, it isn't, because Richie B takes it on the line. 2/10 in the end between those two. And Ferrari's in 7th, finishes a race for might have been the first time this season. Return in 8th, Eli in 9th, and around the final corner comes Heitinen to round out your grid. And 10 drivers, and we probably saw one of the best races of the season, gents. That was absolutely breathtaking.
Yes.
And Zerd, to take that victory, yeah, he literally had nothing to do.
No.
But behind him, everything ensued, everything happened, and an unexpected podium, to be honest. And Lazzaro, driver of the day for me, because after all the battle he's had in this season, only 2 finishes before this and 1 point, rocks up to the circuit of the Americas and takes 2nd place. Unbelievable. And what a race that was.
Yeah, and as we're here, I will now take you through the full standings of 10 drivers, with all the drivers finishing the race with time, with Zerd in 1st, Lazzaro in 2nd, and I must say he is also my driver of the day. Crysis in 3rd, rounding off the podium, then Rayner in 4th, Richie B in 5th, Hooper in 6th, Ferraris in 7th, Return in 8th, Eli in 9th, and Heitinen rounding off the grid and the top 10.
It's nice to say no DNF this time, isn't it? Because we usually see one DNF, but fair play Richie B for not picking up any penalties. I said it was going to be an achievement in itself, and that meant that he took 5th place at the end at the expense of Hooper, who did a pretty decent race time from 3rd position, but turn that into a podium. Zerd obviously managed to convert that 2nd place in qualifying to another victory. His 5th of the season, 61 points between himself and Ryzen at the top. And all he needs to do now is to outscore Ryzen for a start at Mexico, but as long as the gap is 50 points or more at the end of the 36 laps at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, he will be your F4 champion. And he'll do it in the same manner that Lewis Hamilton did it as well.
Yes, he will. And we will see you next week in Mexico. And until then, have a good one.
Good night.